Canada have booked their ticket into the 2024 Copa America and now have a date with Argentina, the reigning World Cup champions, and Lionel Messi, among many other huge superstars in the world of football, as they will also be set to play the likes of Peru and Chile in 3 South American sides in their group, and a great opportunity for Canada to test themselves against new opponents, new sides, in their first ever Copa America tournament, and a huge opportunity to continue to build and prepare for 2026 World Cup. But this all is possible through a match on March 23rd where Canada pulled out a 2-0 victory over Trinidad and Tobago from a huge goal in the 61st minute to break this cagey deadlock affair between TNT and Canada, from Canada's all-time goal scorer in Kyle Larin in the 61st minute, breaking that deadlock, getting that goal, that all-important goal to give Canada that go-ahead and really never look back from there. It wasn't a huge historical match. It wasn't a game where we will remember for years to come off the back of a brilliant performance, but we got the result, and that goal from Kyle Larin was followed up by a goal in the 91st minute that sealed the deal, that really put the stamp on this game and the performance from the super sub himself, from Jacob the Mullet Schaffelberg, is what I'm going to call him now. He was absolutely fantastic when he came onto that pitch, and we will be talking about him throughout this match reaction. But Jacob Schaffelberg was absolutely brilliant when he came on, scoring a thunderbolt of a goal in the 91st minute and a great celebration with his tongue to absolutely follow that. But Canada massively deserved this game. They were on the front foot to some extent, not playing with that pace, that fast speed, that quick build-up that you sometimes would have known through this Canadian side with players like Alphonso Davies, Tajon Buchanan, Jonathan David, and Ismail Kone. We weren't really on the front foot with the pace, the speed, the quick passes, or the attacking emphasis. But Canada got this game over the line, and that is realistically all that matters here. In the world of football, it is a results business, and yes, Canada managed to do that. It wasn't a pretty performance. It was a cagey affair through the first half, most definitely, and a game that looked like we were playing throughout squeaky bum time, even in the first 20 minutes, and that should never be happening. But this was a very interesting performance from Canada, which we will be dissecting in my match reaction, guys. Guys, before we jump into it though, make sure to jump down below, hit that sub button, drop a like, and let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below on what you guys thought about this game between Canada and Trinidad and how you guys think Canada truly did. But for me, this was a very slow-paced game, and I don't want to dwell on the negatives too much in this match because it wasn't the best performance at all. To your imagination, this wasn't a great game from Canada, and there was a lot of negatives from it. But there was a lot of great positives, and especially qualifying for the Copa America 2024 is the biggest positive from this game. And as a football fan, sometimes you got to take some poor performances and some poor play style along with the ride, especially if you're going to take the results, and that is what international football truly is about sometimes. There's a lot of tournament football, and there's a lot of playoff matches within international football, and sometimes all that truly matters is getting the results and winning your match. It doesn't matter how you play, it doesn't matter if it's cagey, if it's slow paced, if it's a poor play style. Sometimes it's a results business, and getting that win is all that matters. Playstyle sometimes really has to take the back seat, and that did come for me as well in this game. I was disappointed with how we played, especially with Biello putting out a fantastic roster. For me, guys, this lineup, he absolutely nailed it, but there was one thing I would have really tweaked, or two things I would have tweaked. This was a great lineup. I'll go through it quickly. Maxime Crépeau in net, a back three of the likes of Kamal Miller, Joel Waterman, and Alistair Johnson, with your wingbacks of Alphonso Davies and Tajon Buchanan, a midfield trio with the likes of Stefan Eustáquio, our captain, Ismail Kone, and Jonathan David dropping down to play the 10, the likes of Ike Ugbo and Kyle Larin up top. And for me, I would have really tweaked that midfield a lot, which would have really changed this dynamic of this game. For me, I did tweet saying this looks like a bit of a slower paced game, And some people were saying this was a slower paced game due to Trinidad and Tobago's play style. Yes, on one hand, you can look at that as a reason Canada played a bit slower, but you got to look at how Canada played. Trinidad was obviously going to sit in that low block. Canada's midfield and Canada's fullbacks needed to press up. They needed to really pass the ball with more emphasis, play some more quick 1-2s, work the ball up the pitch a bit faster. Whenever Ismail Kone and the likes of Stefan Eustáquio got the ball, it was very slow passes. There was no pass and move. There was no movement up front. Very little of it, especially in that first half. And yes, it was very jagged. And this didn't look like a team that had a full week of training together and to get familiar with the play style, the shape. And this might just be what Mauro Biello wanted. He might have just wanted to keep the ball, keep possession, not risk any counterattacks from Trinidad and Tobago and Levi Garcia. That could have been exactly what was told to the likes of Stefan Eustáquio and Ismail Kone. It could have been slow the tempo down, keep the ball, let's not try and press immediately with a high tempo, and let's just keep the ball and settle into the match. And it really seemed like that was the tactics from Mauro Biello. There was no emphasis. Yes, we were on the front foot in terms of possession. I do understand that. But when you looked at the way we were moving the ball in the midfield, it was very slow. It was a very slow pace, and we did look disorganized as well. David was supposed to play in the 10, but when you're playing one of the best number 9s upcoming in the world of football, the second highest goal scorer in Ligue 1, at number 10, he's always going to drift forward. And as we saw in Canada versus TNT, David was supposed to line up at the 10, but massively drifted forward into a 9 position and out wide a little bit, as well as a out forward as well. So having your 10, that guy who's supposed to be that creative outlook for the likes of Stefan Eustáquio and Ismail Kone, really made things look a bit disorganized, a bit disoriented, and it was a bit interesting to watch because that really did slow the pace down as well. But with Canada not having that true number 10 without Junior Hoilett, and even, I know it's dwelling at a dual national, but Marcelo Flores, it really changes things because we could have had an out-and-out number 10 with Marcelo Flores. Not saying he's playing top-level football, but he's still doing very well right now this season, and he's a player that can be molded to the number 10 position. And Canada truly in that player pool don't really have that out-and-out number 10 right now. But for me, I would have changed Jonathan David for the likes of Mathieu Choinière, drop Choinière into the number 10 role, or even just bring him back and play 2 8s with a sitting 6 in Stefan Eustáquio, which gives you a lot more options in the midfield to be able to control it and not have to worry about playing that slower tempo. But like I said, that could have been the tactics. It could have been, let's go out, let's keep the possession, let's not go out with a high tempo, let's keep the ball, let's settle into this match, and let's try to break down TNT. But when you have a team like TNT who sets up in that low block, they're always going to be hard to break down. And the only way you can break sides down like that is quick passes, quick movement, runs off the ball, and showing for space. Yes, you could see out wide in your fullback area with Alphonso Davies and Tajon Buchanan. There was space once they beat that wingback. But they really weren't on their game. Fonzie had a great game. We saw the goal eventually come from Tajon Buchanan, but you could see Tajon was very fatigued as well and probably was on the field a bit longer than he should have been. But another point before I start to wrap up this video and my reaction here, guys, because I don't want it to be extremely long as well. And I also want to hear you guys' opinions in the comments below. And I'm also coming back with a lot of content and freshening up the thumbnails. But one player I need to talk about before I wrap this up is Jacob the Mullet Schaffelberg. Jacob Schaffelberg, when he came onto this pitch, for me, I want to talk about my man of the match. And when you look at this match, especially throughout the 45 and then starting 11, you're thinking Alphonso Davies, Stefan Eustáquio, Calderin, someone take the horns of this match and really take it by the grasp and show that they're the man for the job. And when Jacob Schaffelberg came on, he was immediately my man of the match. He was making runs off the ball. He was showing passion. I'm not saying other players were, but you can see it visibly from Jacob Schaffelberg. The running he does off the ball, and you could see him busting a gut to get up the field, to score that goal where he smashed it into the roof of the net with that thunderbolt of a strike. And just the raw emotion he showed when he scored that goal. Sometimes you also have players that aren't going to be shoo-ins to start. You have players that are going to be your bench players, but they're not players you say, okay, he's 20th on the roster, he's 21, 22, 23. He's 15, 14 on the roster. And that is, for me, a player you can call upon when you need that goal, when you need to win the game, when you control a game, a player that is fine taking that bench role. And we have players like that right now. Liam Millar is breaking down and he is ready to knock on that door to start for Canada. All depends on the manager and how we have a formation. You also have players like Jacob Schaffelberg, who I think was the man of the match against Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, he was only on for a little bit, but he scored a phenomenal goal. He busted a gut all game and showed his true passion on that field. And I absolutely love what he brings to this Canadian side. Having shots from long range, I was crying out for our team to start shooting the ball more often, and there you go, Jacob Schaffelberger rings it off the post. And we always need a player like Jacob Schaffelberg, someone like a Theo Corbianu. These players who you can call upon to come on for a Fonzie, you can come on for a Kyle Larin, who can come on David, Ike Ogbo, Buchanan, and give you that raw pace, that creativity, and even just sometimes like Schaffelberg did, just the unwillingness to just have a hit at goal. It reminds me of Bruno Fernandes for my club, Manchester United. Just have a hit from range, and it doesn't matter how it goes, and just give it a wall up. Because sometimes us Canadian fans might be crying out for a shot like that. I certainly was. We needed that creativity. We needed that willingness to just go forward and have that unhinged attacking ability. And Jacob Schaffelberg gives you that. He uses that pace, that creativity, that excitement, and that flow mullet that he truly has that brings that excitement to all of us fans. And Jacob Schaffelberg truly was the man to come on and do it for Canada, and he was my man of the match. And guys, I didn't want to talk about Mario Biello too much with his tactics and his system in this match reaction because it would take a long time to break that down as well. So I will be talking about Mario Biello and if I think he should stay, if he's the right man for the job, and also breaking his tactics down in another video. But let me know what you guys think down below about how Canada got into the Copa America 2024 with a huge win over Trinidad and Tobago with a 2-0 victory from goals with Kyle Larin and the likes of Jacob the Mullet Schaffelberg. And let me know your opinions in the comments. Drop a like and make sure that sub button because we got so much more content coming on the channel. See you guys.